Hi, my name is Michael Collins. I'm Irish living in America. I've been there for almost 30 years. I'm walking in the footsteps of James Flood. James Flood and his wife Mary were one of the first people that kicked off Strokestown Estate and then were part of the assisted emigration program. Left with 9 children, 3 of them died en route to Grosse Ile. Family disappeared from the record. Their son, James Flood Jr., was adopted into the Grey Nuns orphanage, and then he disappears from the record in 1876, so it's a truncated short history. So I left Ireland in 1981, left for economic reasons, went on a running scholarship, so I didn't have the harrowing experience of being an illegal or any of that type of stuff. I think the whole notion of being an immigrant didn't affect me personally until I started having children. Then they recognized I came from another culture, from another period. They wanted to understand why someone would leave home. I went in search of that journey. Sometimes it's hard to speak about your own personal story. I started joining Irish American organizations, and so in the quest to understand my own story, I think that's still kind of left up in the air. But what I did kind of fall upon was the Irish immigrant experience dating back to 1847, because I think that sticks in the consciousness of the Irish Americans. And even for myself right now, I kind of look over 1981, don't really see that there's a story there, and I've aligned myself now with that kind of previous history, which is that famine history. The more I'm in Irish American organizations, the more that period in history is kind of calcified, and in the strangest way, I kind of identify myself with that generation of people as opposed to, the 1981 immigrants. So based upon that history, I thought that's a more compelling history as well. So now my son is with me, my daughter's been up to Quebec. I plan to take my other children on journeys as well. So again, I've escaped my own kind of personal history because there's no real tangible history there, and we've retreated back to a previous history, which I think is a more compelling, larger kind of story of emigration, and contextualizes who they are, what they are, and then given case of Syria and movement of various different people that are kind of mass exodus of people under kind of terrible conditions. I think that kind of older story has more relevance to their understanding of themselves as Irish Americans. So one of the things I've done was a computer program, and then I moved into writing novels. First collection of short stories was set in Ireland, set more or less my grandparents. They were a big influence on me, so I understood their kind of sensibilities, so I could cast myself back into a 1930s Ireland. And then the next project was to write a famine novel. And I think I just got bogged down in the research. I was never able to understand how people could go for so long under such harrowing conditions and not just die. And my life as an ultra runner, I try to put myself into situations of 12-hour, 24-hour runs, and I can manage passages of time like that under extreme difficulty. But when it gets into a month, 2 months passage and walks like we're doing today from Strokestown, this is only the beginning of a journey that goes then to Liverpool, then goes across the Atlantic, then goes down from Quebec. It's somehow, with a sense of endurance, I've been unable to process and contextualize what that experience would be like. And I think as a novelist, if you can't alight on a character and feel the sense of suffering and what they actually experience, you're sort of at a loss, because I think any entree into a novel, the character has to begin to speak with a sense of pain, hurt, or a sense of there's freedom in the future, but there has to be some kind of point of reference. And it's not like a great shame, but I was shortlisted with the Booker for an American novel about the death of the American Rust Belt, and I was just privy to that for maybe 3-4 years. And so how you're not able to inhabit your own culture and your own history So I think this journey, last year I ran a marathon a day from Quebec to Toronto. Now I'm here doing Strokestown. So I think this is, instead of sitting there doing any more research, I'm hoping that on these runs and these walks, that at a certain moment there's going to be a feel, that there's going to be something that just alights and begins the journey of a novel. But I say that's probably the great loss. So someone said, like, what's the kind of tragic things in your life or things that you didn't accomplish? Is to capture that experience in a kind of emotional way that seems authentic and not forced.